Now, I want to tell you all a story. It's a very interesting story, and I heard it somewhere or another, but that's not important. It's a very interesting story, and I hope that you all enjoy hearing it just as much as I know that I'm going to enjoy telling it. Now, in the big state of Texas, in a little town outside the big city of Dallas, there lives the Kilpatrick family. There's a mom and a dad, and they have 2 sons. Now, all of those people are very, very important. But for the sake of this story, the only person that you're going to really need to know about is the oldest son. This boy is in 3rd grade, and he has red hair and kind of greenish eyes. He's probably like most 3rd grade boys that most of you know, except for one thing. He's a lot shorter. He's always been the shortest in his grade, even shorter than the girls. Now, that wouldn't have been this big of a problem, except for one other interesting detail about this boy, and that is that he has a rather long name. The Kilpatricks pride themselves in giving their children ridiculously long names, really, if you think about it. In fact, this young boy's name is Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. Now, why Mr. and Mrs. Kilpatrick would give such a name, especially to such a small boy, is far beyond me. Maybe you understand it better than I do, and you can explain it to me at a future time. But for now, that is not important. For now, it is important that you know that our friend's name is Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. Okay, so now, one thing that is also important that you know about our friend Eric Adam Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. is that his name gets called very, very often. In fact, I want to kind of tell you something that would kind of go on in the Kilpatrick home. It would go something kind of like this. His mom and dad say his incredibly long name quite often. It goes something like this. Eric Adam Allan Kilpatrick Jr., how many times does a woman have to tell somebody to clean their room before they do it? Let me see if this time does it for you. Eric Adam Allan Kilpatrick Jr., clean your room. Or maybe something like this. Eric Adam Kilpatrick Jr., can you please come help me? Eric Adam Kilpatrick Jr., come quickly. Now, so that's his mom and dad. But his teacher, Mr. Dunesbuckle, also sometimes has something to do with the fact that Eric Adam Allan Kilpatrick Jr. hears his name quite often. It goes something like this. Eric Adam Kilpatrick Jr., can you please help me clean up the glitter and glue from our craft time? Eric Adam Kilpatrick Jr., are you listening to me? Now, let's review. Our friend's name is Eric Adam Allan Kilpatrick Jr. Very good. Now, Arthur Jr. Now, many times people call upon our friend whose name is Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. and every time someone calls on him, they say his entire name, which is Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. Very good. I'm glad y'all are tracking with my story. Now, it wouldn't be so bad if this boy heard his name so often, but sometimes Eric Adam Arthur Kilpatrick Jr., believes that he hears his name just a little bit too much. And sometimes he decides that he is going to respond in probably not the best way when he hears his name. So, I told you what his parents say, but what does Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. say in response? Here we go. It goes something like this. Eric Adam Arthur Kilpatrick Jr., I told you to clean your room. Mom, I don't want to clean my room. I cleaned my room last week. And Mom, why do you have to say my name like that? Or maybe something like, Eric Adam Arthur Kilpatrick Jr., where are you, son? I asked for your help. Dad, I don't want to help you. Why can't you get baby Victor James Jacob Jones Kilpatrick to help you instead? Now, instead of going on and telling you how Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. would respond to his teacher, Mr. Dunesbuckle, I think you're picking up on how this works. I want to tell you that Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. has an even bigger problem than his problem of his really big name. And that's really big. Now, his even bigger problem is that he likes to whine and he likes to complain. And when people ask him to do things, he probably doesn't respond in the best way. Now, mind you, it probably is kind of annoying for Eric Adam Allan Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. to hear his incredibly long name said so many times. But That is no excuse for the way he responds. He knows that God has put his mom and his dad and his teacher in authority over him. And when they ask him to do something, he needs to obey without complaining or arguing. Now, but this big problem he has, he whines and he complains a lot. But before you get too worried about our friend, Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr., I want to tell you that there is hope and that there is good news coming soon. There's a change coming in the life of Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. Now, one thing that I have not told you about our friend Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. is that his family loves Jesus very much, and they go to church. They go to a nice little church inside their nice little town that they live in right outside the big city of Dallas. And now, one Sunday morning, when Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. was sitting in the children's service, he heard something that changed his rather short, incredibly long-named little third-grade self forever. And it was this. His teacher was teaching about Philippians 2:14, and his teacher said, "Do everything without complaining or arguing." And suddenly, a light bulb came on in the mind of Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr., and he said to himself in his mind, I wonder that if maybe I didn't complain and whine after people asked me to do things, maybe, just maybe then, I wouldn't hear my incredibly long name called so often. And then maybe, just maybe, my parents and my teacher would know how much I love them and how much I love God, and I wouldn't have to go through the pain of hearing my incredibly long name called all the time. He said, yes, I think this is a good idea. And then he prayed. He said, Jesus, you know how often I hear my incredibly long name, and it's hard for me to bear. Jesus, please help me to obey the first time so that I don't have to hear my incredibly long name called so often. Help me, Jesus, not to whine and complain. Amen. Now, so I am here to tell you that from that day on, Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. didn't complain and whine ever again. So now the conversations in his house go a little more like this. Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. Come here, son. I need your help setting the table. Coming, Dad. So, as you see, boys and girls, Jesus gave Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. the power to not whine and not complain and to obey the first time. Now that is good news, but the even better news is that over time, Eric, Adam, Allan, Arthur Kilpatrick Jr. began to hear his name less and less and less. And in fact, I think that maybe, just sometimes, his parents will even just call him Eric. Now, that is my story, and I hope you all enjoyed hearing it just as much as I enjoyed telling it.